In August of 1996, I was involved in an automobile accident. I received a large number of injuries including a blow to the head. After I had been transported to a hospital, I slipped into a coma for 4 days. When I woke up I had a catheter inside me and my left hand was taped to my chest. My hand had been crushed and my wrist broken. I was also paralyzed on the left side and could not sit up. Quite a lot of tubes and wires were attached to my arms, chest and head. I was in a lot of pain but somehow I knew I would be all right. I did not remember how I had gotten in this bed or this shape. I still don't remember the accident. I understand this is normal for head injuries like mine. I was probing the thick white tube of the catheter with my fingers when a person I choose to call Bertha said sharply, "Don't pull on it, or it will hurt." She was right. With tears running down my face, I said, "Then you get it out." She turned and left me in pain with no explanation as to where I was or how I had gotten there. I hope all you medical types take note, when coming out of a coma, a fella is confused and needs sympathy more than he needs advice. It was not long before a nurse, like an angel of mercy, came to my rescue. As she was removing the catheter and all the unnecessary tubes, she explained that her name was Barbara. And I that had been brought in by life flight 4 days earlier. I had a crush injury to my left hand and wrist, some broken ribs and a whole list of cuts, for which I had received some 28 stitches, and also a traumatic brain injury to my right frontal lobe. Then she asked, "Do you remember the accident at all?" I responded that I did not remember it at all. The only thing I could remember was about my stay in this hospital, and it was about waking up one time in the dark. I had thought that it was early morning at home and that I was going to be late for work. So I got out of bed and started looking for my clothes. I remember trying to look out the window, too, but for some reason I could not open the blinds. The window had vertical blinds. Then someone put me back to bed. I asked Barbara, "Was that why Bertha was such a byact to me?" Barbara gently explained that I could not possibly have gotten out of bed. She made no comment about my choice of language. After lowering the side rails, she helped me to sit on the edge of the bed. With me holding onto the four-stand as a crutch and Barbara holding me up on the other side, she helped me to stand. I was quite shaky and it was one of the most difficult things I have ever done. But the paralysis went away, some. I had been wearing an open-back hospital robe. At this point, modesty was not an issue. But Barbara told me my family had brought me some new clothing, including some shorts. They were in the closet, which was a wardrobe cabinet by the window. It stood away from the wall and was maybe 6 feet tall with 2 doors in the front and a drawer in the bottom. As she was helping me into my shorts, I told her I just remembered that someone had left an LED sign on the top of the wardrobe. I could tell it shocked her when I said this. She asked, "What did it say?" I explained the sign had not been turned on and it had been dark. She helped me back into bed and said she would be right back. She returned with a doctor who questioned me about the sign. I told him that the sign was 24 inches long by 4 inches wide. It had a dark color that either had a black or gray plastic face with red L.E.DS. It was not turned on, so it had no message. The doctor stood on a chair to get the sign and lifted it up so I could see it. It was the same sign that I had just described. Then he explained that it had been left high up in the room to help with a study of out-of-body experiences. I had not at the time thought that I had been out of my body. I also had not had any of the classic tunnel experiences, nor had I seen a light. That was 16 years ago. Now I'm not so sure. The only message I brought back with me is that I would be all right. I guess it was not my time. Since my experience, death has not been as frightening to me as it had been before. For a long time, I have felt the need to share this with someone. I will admit I did not have a clear head at the time. This story may not prove anything, but it did happen to me, just like I said. I'm certain that even in death I will be okay. I have recovered completely, except for my left hand. The social finger is fused in a functional position. This does get a lot of laughs. So far, everyone I have encountered that's had a NDE reports a happy outcome from it. I do believe we survive beyond death. I am not qualified to explain what happened to me. However, after a lot of research and thought, I have come to some conclusions. As I see it, I was near death. What is evidential to me is that I could not have gotten out of bed. In what I remember about having gotten out of bed, my left arm was not injured. I could not move the blinds even though they were light plastic or vinyl. I was not alone, someone put me back into bed. Although I did not see them, I trusted them. I'm 5 feet 4 inches, but I could see the top of a 6-foot wardrobe.